The elevator in my apartment building is ridiculously small. It only fits a few people, and even then, I was squeezed so tightly I couldn't move an inch. Standing next to me was a man. Even though he was wearing a mask and a cap, nothing could stop my eyes from sneaking glances at him. His posture and presence were the kind that could easily trap any guy-loving heart. The third time he got pushed by someone and ended up even closer to me, I finally mustered the courage to say what I'd been holding back for a while. "Excuse me, that's the third time already. My left foot is going numb from you stepping on it. Maybe try switching feet for a change." I didn't say it loudly, but in a cramped elevator like that, everyone heard it clearly. I even heard a guy standing to my left let out a snort of laughter. "Sorry about that, I lost my balance," he said quickly. And as soon as he finished, his foot sprang off mine like it was powered by a spring. I looked at him again and noticed that even the tips of his ears were turning red. Whether from embarrassment or awkwardness, I couldn't tell. That little exchange lightened the mood in the elevator just a bit, but only slightly. The silence quickly returned, thick and suffocating, the kind of silence that felt like standing on a deserted bridge in the middle of the night. When we reached the 6th floor, I realized that everyone else in the elevator got off too. It was like watching a magical popcorn seed burst into Mickey Mouse's living room, just too strange to believe. The 6th floor only has 2 apartments, mine and the one across the hall, which had been empty for years since the owner moved overseas. So, what were they all doing here? As I stood in front of my door, curiosity got the better of me, and I asked, "Are you guys relatives of the neighbors across the hall?" The handsome guy seemed caught off guard, but answered honestly after a brief pause. "I actually bought that apartment. I'm the new owner. The rest of them are my staff. They'll be coming over often for work in the future. If we disturb you in any way, please don't hesitate to let me know." Wow. That answer was so well prepared it felt like a press release trending on Twitter. But at the same time, I couldn't help but think, maybe his ears were red earlier because he was embarrassed. After all, being called out in front of your subordinates like that, in a cramped elevator, must feel like getting slapped in the face. Publicly, in slow motion. It probably ranked up there with the humiliation of accidentally pooping in an elevator. In the days that followed, my life continued on the usual 2.1 track route, between my apartment and the research institute. After all, I'm a graduate student. If I don't make the most of my time now, I might end up going from graduate researcher to dead researcher, the handsome guy who just moved in across the hall. Lucky me, I actually got to see his face when he took off his mask. The good news? He really is incredibly good looking. The even better news? He's none other than Tyler Shen, one of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. I'm not a hardcore fangirl or anything, but I do keep up with celebrity gossip. And with someone like Tyler Shen, I've basically heard about all his major headlines. So naturally, I was curious. Why would someone like him choose to live in a building with almost non-existent security? Shouldn't he be tucked away in a luxury apartment with guards at every door? Maybe people in showbiz just enjoy living on the edge. Still, it's none of my business. We kept things cordial, just polite nods whenever we passed each other. Because of that cool, distant neighborly dynamic, I never even got the chance to ask for a signed photo. I hated how annoyingly reserved I was. I didn't go around bragging either. Telling anyone that Tyler Shen was my neighbor would only attract fans, or worse, paparazzi. In the end, the ones who'd suffer would be him. And me, the unknown next-door neighbor. I thought that was how things would stay, distant and unremarkable. Until one day, out of the blue, Tyler Shen and his manager knocked on my door. I looked at him, confused. "Out looking for inspiration?" I asked. Tyler gave a soft smile. "Yeah, I'm working on a new album, but I've been stuck lately. Figured I'd go exploring to see if something sparks." I don't know much about the artistic process, especially whatever spark or fate he was talking about. Thankfully, his manager jumped in to explain. "Miss Van," he said warmly, "don't feel any pressure. All we're hoping is that you can show Tyler around to places you find interesting. It's really nothing complicated. Being close to a celebrity of that caliber was tempting, sure, but I had research deadlines piling up. Grad school life isn't exactly forgiving. Sorry, I really don't have much free time right now. I hadn't even finished before his manager cut me off. Time isn't an issue. We're flexible. And of course, we wouldn't ask for your help without something in return. How does $50,000 sound? Wait, what? That's not the kind of offer you turn down. Do you have the contract ready? I asked, trying to keep my cool. We'll have our team send it over. You can let your friend take a look. If everything looks good, we'll sign. This guy really knew how to hit my weak spot. Not that I cared about the money. Okay, maybe a little. But I was mostly just excited to hear Tyler's new album before anyone else. I glanced over at Tyler. He was already looking at me. Under the hallway light, he seemed almost otherworldly, glowing with a soft allure. God, this man is like a walking ATM. Handsome, rich, and absolutely irresistible. Sure, I technically took the job for the money, but reality soon crashed the party. My professor dumped even more research projects on me, and my already limited time disappeared completely. The field inspiration tour kept getting pushed back, by 2 weeks, then 4. One person being delayed by 2 weeks is manageable, but 2 people, that's a month gone. And Tyler has millions of fans. All that precious youth, wasted, because of my research deadlines. My professor, he's the boulder standing in the way of Tyler Shen's new album. He's the villain sabotaging the love story between Tyler and his fans. Honestly, unforgivable. I'll admit I'm a bit of a money chaser, but I still take my responsibilities seriously. I had already drafted a full list of places I planned to take Tyler Shen. The strategy was laid out with precision. Our first stop was a little alleyway, just 2 subway stops from our building. Tyler was completely covered from head to toe. Hat, mask, everything. Honestly, I was curious. Wouldn't dressing like that just attract more attention? The alley itself wasn't anything special, but it had a few small delivery shops, kids just out of school, and elderly women sitting outside, listening to traditional opera on the radio. These little things always awaken my senses. Can you guess why I brought you here? I asked. Tyler was quiet for a moment before softly replying, because this place smells like life. I was surprised. I'd assumed celebrities like him stopped noticing things like that long ago. Clearly, I was wrong. Seeing me a little caught off guard, Tyler smiled and teased, "What's wrong? You didn't think I was capable of saying something like that?" "No, I just didn't expect it," I replied. "Besides being good-looking, you're pretty sharp, too." If anyone else had said that, it might have sounded like a compliment. But with me, Tyler probably couldn't tell if I was praising him or mocking him. So, to be kind, I added, "They say handsome men shouldn't be too smart. Makes them easier to use." That made Tyler burst out laughing. "And what about you?" he asked. "Do you prefer brains or no brains?" I like someone who can switch it on and off. That trip to the alley made me see a different side of Tyler. He could chat patiently with an old lady about traditional opera, then turn around and haggle over fruit prices with a street vendor. Honestly, he acted so naturally that it was hard to believe he was a top-tier celebrity. At the end of the outing, I asked if he'd found any inspiration. His answer? Mysterious as always. "I got something," he said, "but I wouldn't call it inspiration yet." He could seriously become a philosopher or something, the kind that speaks in riddles but somehow still leaves you pondering them for hours. The truth? He had a gift. That weekend, I was holed up at home, buried in the mountain of research work my advisor had dumped on me. Day and night blurred together. No sunlight, no restful sleep. I was just hoping to survive long enough to graduate. Then I heard a knock at the door. I opened it, a little too eagerly, and there was Tyler, dressed casually in loungewear, holding a tray of homemade desserts. "You made these?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he countered with, "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Flustered, I stepped aside. and he walked right in, straight to the dining table. He set the tray down and gave me a look that clearly meant, "Come sit." Tyler stood there watching me eat the whole thing. Honestly, the way he looked at me was intense. "Is it good?" he asked. I pretended to think long and hard, mostly because I wanted to see how his expression would change. It was kind of fun. "It's really good," I finally said. The moment I finished, I saw the relief flash across his face. "I made it," he said. Just 3 simple words, but the pride in them shimmered like sunlight on water. What if I'd said it didn't taste good? I would have just claimed I bought it from a store. The other day, my senior's ex-girlfriend sent over a massive bouquet of roses, trying to rekindle old flames. My senior didn't even hesitate. She called her ex right away and gave him a verbal smackdown. Then she divided the bouquet among everyone in the lab, except our advisor. That evening, when I got home, I noticed Tyler Shen's door was left open. As I got closer, I saw him and his team gathered in the living room, discussing something. Tyler had his back to me. I stood there awkwardly until one of the staff, same guy who once laughed at him in the elevator, noticed me first. "Oh, hey, Mia, you're here?" Tyler turned around immediately. I realized I might be interrupting something and was about to excuse myself and leave. But before I could say anything, Tyler's eyes laser-focused on the bouquet of roses in my hand. "Someone gave you flowers?" he asked. "What's the big deal?" I shrugged. Tyler tossed the script in his hand onto the couch and walked over to me, shutting the door behind him. Now we were standing alone in the hallway, just staring at each other like some K-drama scene. Eyes locked, no words. He looked like he was about to say something, but I beat him to it and handed him the flowers. He looked a bit flustered. Honestly, it was kind of adorable. I smiled. "My senior gave them to me. Everyone in the lab got a share. Now I'm giving them to you." "Why?" "Because fresh flowers should be given to handsome men." Sure enough, Tyler's ears started turning red again. Ugh, even cuter now. Our second stop was a tiny noodle shop near my research institute. At first, Tyler didn't pay much attention to the food, but after the first bite, you could see the shock in his eyes, like he couldn't believe he'd been missing out on this his whole life. Poor guy. How many years has he gone without tasting these earthly delights? I had a clear purpose in bringing him here, not just to eat, but to listen, to overhear the casual, unfiltered conversations of the customers around us. At first, Tyler didn't get it, but after hearing a few quirky life stories from nearby tables, he looked at me, amazed. "Are all researchers like you? A little unhinged?" "It's not that we're unhinged," I smirked. "It's just, who doesn't go a little mad after working full-time?" Not long after, a girl began walking toward our table. Since Tyler and I were sitting side by side, we both saw her at the same time. She looked like someone who had just realized she was living her dream of finally meeting her idol. Tyler immediately ducked his head, his cap practically touching his bowl of noodles. Was the food even edible like this anymore? What a waste! He kept shifting closer to me, clearly trying to avoid being recognized and causing a scene. I just smiled quietly, not saying a word. The girl finally reached our table, and to both our surprise, she sat down across from us. I had a feeling Tyler was already rehearsing some polite rejection speech in his head, but I didn't give him the chance to speak. "Senior," I said to the girl, keeping my voice serious, "the experimental results don't match what's in the research paper. Do you think it's a data error, or was the methodology flawed? I couldn't reproduce the results." "Try restarting the software," she replied. "Could be a bug." "Good idea. I'll try it right away." And just like that, she was gone, swift as the wind. So fast, in fact, that Tyler hadn't even fully processed what just happened. I noticed his ears were turning red again. Understandable. He'd just narrowly avoided a fan encounter. He cleared his throat awkwardly and changed the subject. "Can you take me to your lab later?" he asked, trying to sound casual. I want to see what daily life's like for a bunch of researchers like you. No? Why not? I'll be careful. No one will even notice I was there. It's not that simple, I said. Our research institute deals with a lot of confidential data. If you show up, you might just end up switching careers, from entertainment to criminal news headlines. This time, it was Tyler Shen who took me out. He said he was sure I'd never seen a place as beautiful as the one he was taking me to. Last time, I teased him about missing out on all the best food in the world. This time, he said he had to redeem himself with something spectacular. I was suspicious. Maybe the guy just wanted to reclaim a little pride. So he did hold a grudge after all. To be honest, I didn't buy into his hype. After all, how could he possibly know this city better than me? But the moment I got in his car, I realized I was completely wrong. 2 hours passed. We were out of the city limits. Can you at least give me a hint where we're going? I asked. Tyler glanced at me, smugness practically radiating from his face. So there are things you don't know. Yeah, like how I'm starting to suspect you're about to commit a crime. Tyler burst out laughing. In your world, I've got quite the range of personas, huh? Now I'm a human trafficker too? He said something else, but I didn't catch it. I was too distracted staring at his side profile. Honestly, it's not fair how good-looking this guy is. The universe clearly plays favorites. My gaze must have been too obvious, because Tyler started looking a little uncomfortable again. Sure enough, the tips of his ears turned pink. He cleared his throat. The place I'm taking you to, it's beautiful. When I'm in a bad mood, I always come here to clear my head. I glanced at the GPS and muttered, well, that's one expensive therapy session. We chatted the whole way, and before I knew it, we arrived. Despite the long drive, I wasn't even tired, probably because I wasn't the one driving. And then I understood what he meant by beautiful. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over West Lake. There was a flower pier, a little grassy island, calm rippling waters that stretched for acres, and an untouched shoreline. A small boat drifted freely across the surface. It was breathtaking. No wonder Tyler Shen likes coming here when he's feeling down. This place really does have a calming magic. I turned to look at him. A light breeze tousled his short hair, making him look even more serene. You were right, I said. This place is absolutely beautiful. Tyler smiled, his eyes filled with warmth. Of course. That's why I wanted to bring you here. But just when I thought things were quiet, someone had to leak a photo of Tyler and me walking together on the street. The internet exploded. People started speculating like wildfire. Some said I was his secret girlfriend. Others claimed I was his assistant. The most outrageous rumor? That I was a rich older woman sponsoring his career. What the heck? Since when did I become the shape-shifting Martin? Thankfully, the pictures were blurry. Unless you knew me personally, you probably wouldn't recognize me. I was just starting to breathe a sigh of relief when I got a message from my senior. Wow, so you're not just researching science, you're researching celebrities too? Thanks a lot, senior. Our relationship is entirely innocent, but she somehow made it sound scandalous. I knew these rumors would impact Tyler more than me, and even though I'm not in the entertainment industry, I still wanted to help him, or at least not make things worse. After thinking for a while, I finally messaged him. Why do I look like a blurred-out pile of pixels in that photo? It took a while, but Tyler eventually replied, Don't worry, I'll handle it. That one sentence was surprisingly reassuring. The last time I felt that calm was during my thesis defense, when my advisor, shockingly, smiled and said, Don't worry, I'll handle the experts' questions. That evening, Tyler posted something on Weibo. The girl in the photo is not in the entertainment industry. I don't want her to be dragged into the spotlight because of me. So please don't disturb her. People are making all kinds of guesses about who she is. What I can say is that she's an incredible woman. As for our relationship, for now, we're just friends. By the time I saw the post, it was already trending. Cue the internet's expert-level reading comprehension. Unsurprisingly, people fixated less on an incredible woman and way more on the phrase, "For now, we're just friends." The internet's analysis of that "for now" had me laughing out loud. Not long after, my doorbell rang. When I opened the door, there stood Tyler, dusty from the road, standing in front of me. He reached out to gently brush a loose strand of hair from my face. "So?" he asked seriously. "What did you think of the post?" I looked at him and nodded. "Not bad. You really captured how incredible I am." He hesitated for a moment. Then we both burst into laughter. After the chaos online, the two of us escaped to the beach together. Just us, a crate of beer, and endless conversation. It felt effortless, freeing. "When did you decide to become a singer?" I finally asked. It was something I'd always been curious about. Tyler was quiet for a moment. He opened another beer before answering. 3 years ago." That lined up with the year he debuted. "So you made it to the top in just 3 years? That's impressive." He chuckled, almost self-deprecatingly. "Not really. I had someone who pushed me. If it weren't for her, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it." "Her?" I leaned in, curious. "Who? Who is she?" Tyler looked conflicted, but still answered. "You don't know?" "How would I know? I'm a grad student, not a paparazzi. I interact with the world through science, not psychic powers." He seemed a little disappointed, but didn't say anything. Instead, he quietly placed his jacket over my legs to block the sea breeze. 3 years ago, I sent out my demo to all the big labels. Every single one rejected it. They didn't like my style. I felt defeated. I started to wonder if maybe I just wasn't good enough for this industry. He paused. I'd sit in the convenience store downstairs every night, just sit there for hours. And that's when I noticed someone interesting. Now we were getting to the climax of the story. I leaned in. Every night at 8 p.m., she'd come in and eat hot pot, alone. While eating, she'd call her friends and rant about her professor. How unfair he was. How he doubted her research. How frustrated she was. Back then, Tyler always wore a mask. If he hadn't mentioned it now, I wouldn't have remembered that random guy in the corner. He really was destined to be a celebrity, so cautious even before fame. Seeing the shock on my face, Tyler's lips curled into a smile. He seemed lighter. She once said, "Take all those skeptical looks and treat them like flickering will-o'-the-wisps. Just keep walking your path, even in the dark." That one sentence became my life's motto. Tyler looked at me gently, waiting for my reaction. I stared at him, trying to picture the younger version of him, masked and uncertain. "That wasn't me," I said softly. "It was my lab mate who said that." Tyler has been hovering around me all day lately. I honestly have no idea how far along his album is. When I asked, he just gave me that mysterious smile again. "Orderly progress," he said, with occasional inspiration. Lately, he's also been spending his free time perfecting his cooking skills. Singer by day, aspiring chef by night. I was honestly in awe. Every day, he'd come up with new recipes. And to be honest, he seemed more passionate about baking than cooking. And so, his routine became clockwork. Every day, he'd show up with a different dessert for me. This guy, he's seriously something. "Do you really like baking that much?" I finally asked. Tyler looked at me, completely incredulous. "Why would you think that?" "Then what? You just love solving culinary equations?" He smirked, slipping into his playful, teasing tone. "You like eating, don't you? You think I'd go to all this trouble if it weren't for you?" I gasped in mock surprise. "So you're not in love with baking? You're in love with me?" He widened his eyes dramatically. "Oh no, you figured it out!" And we both burst into laughter, because deep down, we'd both known the answer for a long time. That same night at the beach, under the stars. Maybe it was the sea breeze, or maybe it was the moment. We got lost in the conversation. and somewhere in the silence, my gaze drifted to his lips. I found myself wondering, what would it feel like to kiss him? So I asked, "Tyler, do you like me?" He clearly didn't expect it. His eyes widened, like I'd caught him completely off guard. But then he looked me right in the eyes and answered, "Yeah, I like you." That was all I needed to hear. Smiling, I leaned in. When our lips were barely an inch apart, I whispered, "I like you too." And then I kissed him, just like I imagined, soft, sweet, and unforgettable. Now that Tyler's album was almost finished, I dragged him to the nearest temple. "What are we doing here?" he asked, confused. "We're here to pray, of course," I said. "We need blessings for your album. May it sell like hotcakes." Tyler gave me a look somewhere between amused and baffled. "A scientist who believes in superstition?" I panicked and covered his mouth. "Shh! Don't say things like that. Be respectful." He patted my hand and nodded obediently. "Oh, right. What's the name of your album?" I asked. "We need to be specific when we pray. The gods need accurate targeting." Tyler's eyes lit up. "It's called Reunion." He said it like he was waiting for my reaction. And suddenly, I had a feeling that maybe, just maybe, the title was about me. But of course, I had no proof. I cleared my throat and signaled for him to start praying properly beside me. I knelt before the statue. In my heart, I quietly made a wish. When I opened my eyes, I saw Tyler Shen was still praying. This guy, he claimed he wasn't superstitious, yet he was clearly making more wishes than I did. When he finally got up, we left the temple together. He was very curious about what I wished for, pestering me the whole way back. "Lately, my advisor keeps asking if I want to pursue a PhD, I told him. "But research is exhausting. I think I'd rather go out and work." Tyler nodded thoughtfully. "So, between studying and working, which would you choose?" "I choose lighting incense." Tyler's new album, Reunion, was finally released. And just like that, it exploded onto the hot search. Tyler Shen Reunion, Satur Voice, Blessed by Angels, Tyler new album. This album hits differently. I mean, come on. The hype was unreal. The guy's truly unbeatable. But this album? It wasn't just another Tyler Shen hit. Reunion, The Alleyway, The Secrets, The Sunset, The Shore, The Pastries, The Convenience Store, The Lover, The Muse. He once said I was helping him gather inspiration. Who knew he'd take all those moments and immortalize them, exactly as they were, in his songs? The album title was already a dead giveaway. Netizens in this day and age are basically detectives. Give them a few crumbs, and they'll piece together the whole story. Tyler confesses in his album. That keyword trend was everywhere. I buried my face in my hands. "Tyler, you really left yourself no way out, huh?" It's like he wanted to back himself into a corner. I was still recovering from secondhand embarrassment when he texted me. "Everyone figured it out so fast." Or maybe I was just too obvious. Me. "Oh my God, you thought you were being subtle?" Tyler sends a gif of a puppy scratching its head. "Maybe we should just go public?" Before I could even reply, my doorbell rang. The moment I opened the door, Tyler wrapped me in a hug. "I was scared you wouldn't like the attention, that you wouldn't want to admit we're together." I hugged him back, gently patting his back to reassure him. "What are you talking about? Dating a superstar like you? I feel like I hit the jackpot." That made Tyler laugh. "Miss Van, you are the ultimate mood killer." I grinned and accepted the nickname proudly. "Hey, I don't kill the vibe, I own the vibe." We teased each other for a while before he got all serious, pacing like he was preparing for a dissertation defense. He was that nervous about drafting the public announcement post. I couldn't help but laugh and shoo him back to his apartment to write it properly. Of course, I kept refreshing his Weibo page like a hawk. After about 30 minutes of edits and rewrites, he finally posted, "Last time, someone took secret photos of me and her together. At the time, I was afraid the attention would push her away. I didn't want her to be overwhelmed or hurt because of me. But I was also quietly happy that people thought we were a couple. Back then, I only dared to say we were just friends. But today, I want to proudly tell everyone, she's my girlfriend. I've never been luckier than the day I met her. She brings joy and strength into my life. With her by my side, even the hardest path feels wide and open. She brought me into her world and helped me finish this album. So you'll find her in every corner of Reunion. She once asked me if I'd found any inspiration. Back then, I gave her a vague answer. But now I can say, she's not just my inspiration. She's the muse I've been waiting for. She's the love of my life. I swear that man, even a cold-blooded mood killer like me, nearly teared up. Right then, Tyler pushed the door open and walked in. He has a key, mind you, but still made me get up from the sofa to open the door like a fool. "Did I make you cry?" he asked, clearly pleased with himself. "Just a little," I muttered. He wiped my non-existent tears and settled in next to me. "I wrote such a long post," he said. "And you're not even going to compliment me? Didn't I used to work part-time at a grocery store, cleaning fish? I'm just worried your ego might swell." I kissed his cheek lightly. "But yes, I'm very impressed. Keep it up, all right?" Tyler's smug face softened a little, the familiar cocky smile returning. He looked adorably proud of himself. "Tyler," I said, "let's always stay like this, okay?